Welcome to today's explainer. When we think about poverty, it's really easy to just picture an empty bank account. But the reality? Poverty is rarely just about money. It's often an accumulated disadvantage, something that literally gets passed down from generation to generation. So today, we're tackling a big question. How do we actually break those cycles? Now, for a long time, our instinct has been to offer temporary relief, right? Someone hits a crisis and we rush to meet that immediate need. And look, that is absolutely crucial work. But today, we're zooming out. We're focusing on how to build lasting, intergenerational self-reliance. We're going to explore a mentored pathway that moves way beyond just writing a check or dropping off groceries and instead empowers families to gain real, enduring capacity. Let's dive right in. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, breaking the poverty cycle. Second, seeking those in need. Third, the self-reliance plan. Fourth, building a support team. And finally, 5 steps to success. Section 1. Breaking the poverty cycle, a paradigm shift. Okay, so breaking this cycle actually requires a massive paradigm shift in how we view the struggles happening right in our own communities. We really have to look past those immediate flashing red symptoms of a crisis. Because poverty isn't just a lack of funds, it's an accumulated disadvantage over time. Think of it kind of like a snowball rolling downhill over decades. That disadvantage gets passed down through health, through education, everyday habits, and simply a lack of opportunity. Because those roots run incredibly deep, the cycle only actually breaks when families gain true capacity, not just a temporary patch. Paying a utility bill might solve today's emergency for sure, but it totally misses that accumulated disadvantage. We have to build real capacity. And making that happen, it requires a profound mental pivot for all of us, acting as leaders and mentors. We have to stop just asking, well, who needs help today, and start asking who needs a pathway out of poverty. We actually already do temporary relief really well. We've got welfare assistance, ministering programs, employment support, the whole shebang. But to fundamentally change lives, we have to pivot. We need to actively seek out those folks who are stuck in these repeated, grueling cycles of crisis and offer them a highly structured way out. Because escaping intergenerational poverty, it's steep, it's difficult, and frankly, it is incredibly intimidating. It's like trying to navigate this vast, completely dry wilderness. If a family is standing at the bottom of that terrain, looking up, you can't just hand them a map and say, hey, good luck out there. They need a guide. They need a proven, mentored pathway that leads them through that harsh environment safely. This explainer is all about how we become those guides.
Section 2. Seeking those in need. Proactive identification.
Here's the thing. We literally cannot wait for families to come to us perfectly articulating their struggles. We must proactively seek out individuals who need help, especially those showing signs of repeated crisis. And here is the absolute game changer. When we do find them, we have to realize that throwing information at them is not going to cut it. Families in crisis need a mentored pathway, not just a class. Simply inviting an at-risk family to sit in a room and listen to a lecture on budgeting, it's not going to break the cycle. They need ongoing, dedicated support that's custom-tailored to their very specific, complex reality.
Section 3. The self-reliance plan, our central tool.
So if they meet this mentored pathway, what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it relies entirely on our central tool, which is the self-reliance plan. But let me be super clear. This is not just some piece of paper or a bureaucratic form you file away in a cabinet. It's a dynamic engine for ongoing self-reliance planning and, crucially, monitoring. It works as an assessment tool to figure out exactly where a family stands right now. It's a goal-setting framework to help them envision a better future. It's a coaching roadmap for mentors, and it's a concrete progress tracker. This is the tool that makes an impossibly difficult journey measurable step by step. Now, there's a really clear distinction between how we use this plan. You've got 2 levels. Level 1 is for general use. It's self-directed. Members fill out their own plans to figure out their income, education, or spiritual goals, and that builds great personal ownership. But level 2, that's our targeted use for at-risk families. This is a guided plan. It's the absolute foundation of a true coaching and mentoring relationship. It demands ongoing monthly reviews and constant adjustments when life inevitably throws up barriers. Remember our main focus today. Families dealing with intergenerational poverty don't just do a plan. They are guided through level 2, month by month, side by side with someone else.
Section 4. Building a support team. People make plans work.
Because let's be honest, a plan, no matter how perfectly written, is entirely useless without the right people driving it. We have to create a dedicated support team to wrap around these families until their goals are fully achieved. And this progressive team is broken down into 3 distinct councils. First, your ward council handles the big picture vision. They discern which families desperately need that level 2 help, they assign the coaching pathways, and they rigorously review progress every quarter. Next, the adult council tackles present stability. They execute the immediate stuff, employment interventions, budgeting, and they are the ones providing the actual on-the-ground mentors. Finally, the youth council focuses on future mobility. They're looking out for at-risk youth, building up their educational aspirations, and connecting them to their own mentors to prevent future poverty. It's a brilliant way to surround a family with a complete, coordinated support system. And the research backs us up completely. Families exit poverty when someone walks with them over time. Period. Like we said before, information alone is just not enough. You absolutely need accountability plus encouragement. You need a designated coach backed up by a ministering team, sitting down with the family at least monthly to take these massive, overwhelming goals and break them down into completely doable, bite-sized weekly actions. Section 5, 5 Steps to Success, Ward Action Priorities. Okay, so let's get super practical. These are the actionable priorities that take all this philosophy and turn it into ground-level execution. This is the engine. Step 1, identify at-risk families by actively looking for repeated crisis. Step 2, create that guided level 2 self-reliance plan. Step 3, assign the coach in that mentoring circle. Step 4, protect the children's pathway so the cycle stops right here. And Step 5, review progress quarterly to keep up the momentum. Let's actually zoom in on a few of these because they are game changers. Zooming in on Step 2, creating that guided plan. When mentors sit down with a family, they aren't just winging it. They assess highly specific, holistic areas. They're setting precise income goals. They map out pathways to develop new skills. They put in rigorous tracking for budgets and savings. They focus sharply on the kids' education. And they work on building foundational spiritual habits. The bishop authorizes this plan, sure, but the mentors and specialists, they're the ones in the trenches every single week making sure it actually happens. Then there's Step 4, which is incredibly vital, protecting the children pathway. Listen, if we want to truly break the cycle of poverty, we can't just focus on the adults. Youth and primary leaders have got to step in and foster a powerful culture of learning. That means keeping an eye on school attendance, building up strong reading and homework habits, creating a real, tangible vision for the future, and fostering spiritual confidence. This step uses the power of peer momentum to make sure the next generation doesn't inherit the disadvantages of the past. And finally, let's look at Step 5. You have to track real progress. Those ward council quarterly reviews, they can't just be a casual check-in where everyone says, yeah, they're doing fine. You need concrete data. Are the plan milestones being hit? Is their income actually stabilizing? Is their savings behavior improving? Are the youth engaged? A community needs to be a place where a crisis is met with massive compassion, but stagnation has to be met with relentless, focused effort. Ongoing monitoring is how you combat that stagnation. Let's just pause for a second on this incredibly powerful anchor quote from Elder M. Russell Ballard. He said, "There is no problem in the family, ward, or stake that cannot be solved if we look for solutions in the Lord's way by counseling, really counseling with one another." I mean, that perfectly captures the entire essence of the mentoring pathways and the team structures we've been talking about today. The heavy lifting of guiding someone out of poverty requires true unified counseling. It requires a team. Nobody can do this alone. So to wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to really chew on. As we start implementing these mentored pathways, the way we measure success has to fundamentally evolve. We need to stop looking at sheer volume, just asking how many were helped with a quick fix. We have to shift to a transformational metric. Who is actually becoming self-reliant? By proactively seeking out those in need, using targeted self-reliance plans with ongoing monitoring, and building dedicated support teams to stay with them until they cross the finish line, we literally have the power to break the cycles of poverty in our communities. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope you feel totally empowered to start building these vital pathways today.